Now, whenever the topic of web development or a web developer comes up, there is one question which I typically ask, and that question is what is expected from a web developer. And the most typical answer people give is that a web developer is supposed to develop a website, right? Which seems pretty legit. But is it really that simple? Well, if you ask me, I would say yes and no. Yes, because making a website is simple enough provided you have the necessary knowledge and you know how to use the required tools, right? And no, because as in every single case, web development has its own set of challenges. And no matter how many people are in your team, or no matter which company you're working on, which project you're working on, you will face these challenges. I can guarantee that. So, the first challenge that a web developer typically faces is time. Now, what people do not understand is that web development or web design, as a few call it, is actually an art, right? And art takes time. For instance, if a company has 1 month for the launch of their website, they would expect it to be ready 3 weeks before. What I'm trying to say here is that you will run out of time, and there is no clear cut solution to that. But again, you need to keep this in mind before you begin so that you don't mess it up at the end. The next is change. Now, the fact is that nobody is satisfied with version 1.0, right? Which I would say is as it should be, because there is always a scope for improvement. But again, having said that, at times they'll tell you to make so many changes that you will actually be fed up after a point of time. Okay, so now again, let me actually break this stigma. You might have this mentality that you don't have to go for a 8 or 10 hour a day job, because you'll be starting your own freelancing web development job and everything. Yeah, that is true. I agree that you won't be working for someone else per se, but trust me, at times what will happen is that you will actually end up working, not even at times, most of the times it will happen that you will actually end up working more than 10 hours or more than 12 hours a day on a project, right? Because project runs on deadlines, and as I mentioned already, it is really difficult to meet the deadline.